There is a war that has raged on in South Carolina for more than 100 years, the one that pits the Grand Strand's fragile wetlands against those with dreams of another gated community, another 18 holes of grass, fertilizer, and flags. There is no question the latter has won most of those battles. But here, along the Great PD and Waccamaw rivers, a fragile peace is in place, thanks to the generosity of wealthy 20th century landowners like Thomas Samworth, Tom Yockey, and others. Their gifts of hundreds of acres of wetlands and cypress swamp to the state have preserved not only the millions we bring in from our hunting and fishing tourism, but the very history that's the reason we settled here in the first place.
Most people ride up and down the river every day and have no idea what's underneath or what's over in the marsh. And this is one of the ones that's remained open. It's a little bit deeper, a little bit wider.
For 30 years, this man has been the face of the status quo along these waterways. It's been Jim Lee's job as a DNR biologist to confront development threats to the Samworth Water Management Area and every refuge north and south. He must also recruit advocates along the way, and that's where this day-long plantation and rice tour comes in. Nothing is better at creating believers.
Everything that you see out here was in rice, every single acre. Let's see if I can get close enough to get a sprig of this.
On this day, Lee is guiding a half-dozen members of a regional photo club through South Carolina's most influential time in history.
This is a pretty good specimen here.
Wild rice still grows along the old cultivated rice fields and still attracts dozens of species of waterfowl.
This was an important food source to Native Americans here for thousands of years.
It's this wild rice that told Europeans cultivated rice, known as Carolina gold, could make them very rich. And it did. Clearly the best way to see how vast these rice fields really are is to see it from the air, all 40,000 acres. Also gives you a better idea of why Georgetown County was the wealthiest in the country at the time. And those rice fields, the earthworks, as well as the canals are, for the most part, still here. And so too is the impact they're having on the local economy, some 300 years later. What's happened during those 300 years is what these Department of Natural Resources tours are all about.
I wanted you to see it the way most people usually saw it, which is from the water. And this is the front of the house that faces the water.
The Waccamaw River is lined with plantation homes that stand to this day.
But you might want a camera if you've got one.
Some, like Duralton Plantation, are owned by the state and open to the public. River neighbors like Chicora Wood, Arundel, and Exchange plantations are still in the hands of family descendants. Much of their lands that were once rice plantation, however, are now part of the conservation easement, untouched by development. No question, you can find historic tours of South Carolina by foot, by bus, by boat, by carriage. But there's a price to be paid for that kind of education, and therein lies the difference here. The Department of Natural Resources offers these highly personalized tours for free, and there's no advertising, which pretty much makes this one of the best-kept secrets in the Grand Strand. And secrets are a big part of what guides like Lee are exposing on day trips like this, from the secret spots used by Revolutionary War heroes along the rivers to outwit the English, to the secret closed-door battles that still rage between developers and conservationists. Even if you can find stuff like this in a history book, you have to come here to touch it, to smell it, to feel it.
From the minute you started to the minute you end, you felt like if you were in another dimension.
Look out for snakes. We almost always see one, okay?
Every step a history buff's delight, a photographer's dream, a hunter's paradise.
You're not going to get there by car. Okay, so I think it's a very special thing that they're doing.
To Sandy Island and one of the last remaining Gullah communities, shrinking but still intact.
They presented a plan.
Just a few short years ago, developers nearly won the battle to build a bridge here, level the island, and lay out a golf course community.
Turning this into what every little other part of Myrtle Beach looks like.
The state beat back the bulldozers for now. DNR's leadership in Columbia has recognized the lasting impression these tours are having on the Grand Strand community. After years of offering them to a word-of-mouth audience only, expansion plans are in the works.
So if you could command this, you knew who was coming and going.
Jim Lee will be the first to tell you these tours are becoming the most productive link between our local past and the ability to preserve it for the future.
And the only way you're going to do that is bring the people out here and show them what they've got.
I'm David Klug, WMBF News.